I care a lot about what you think of me. I mean, a lot. I care a lot. We care a lot! My wife, she doesn't seem to have this condition. She doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And I respect the shit out of her for it. Probably part of the reason I married her. But for me, at times in my life, it has consumed me and it sucks. For those who've known me long enough, I used to be a pretty strange dude. And I really didn't care how strange I was. The only people I really cared about were my close friends, and there weren't very many of them, so, and we all kind of liked the same thing, so none of us thought we were weird. At least none of us thought we didn't think we were weird. As I moved through high school, I realized that people do think things about you, and I started to care more and more about what people thought about me, and if they're going to be negative, I'd rather control those negative things. I did what any angry, pissed off 16-year-old will do. I dyed my hair and I looked as mean as I possibly could and got all punk rock with people. Because if you're gonna think something negative about me, it might as well be like a negative thing that I'm projecting onto you. Years later, I took a different approach. I started being in bands and I had to be nice to people. And I got sort of good at it. As time went on, I realized that I liked people and some people even liked me. But as this happened, I started to become sort of addicted to the way that felt. And friendship felt awesome. Being popular felt awesome. And I would then do things to be popular. So I've gone from somebody who doesn't care to somebody who cares very much what people think about me. I craved being thought of positively so much that ironically I would name drop and brag. It's kind of a crappy thing to do. Fast forward a decade or so and I find myself doing a lot less of those things. Almost never, as a matter of fact. But sometimes my ego rears its head and gets the best of me. How did I get it under control? Well, one, I started to bring people back in close. I stopped having these large, superficial friend groups and started really focusing on the people that were the closest to me. And those people didn't care how cool I was, or wasn't. It's probably the latter. This made it easy for me not to bask in the spotlight of my own self-satisfaction. Number two, this is a little more recent, but reading books has really helped a lot. When you read a book from a man or woman who is clearly more intelligent than you are, it is really hard to walk away from that book. It's hard to walk away from that book full of pride and self-relevance, reverence. Number three, living in a country. When we lived in Thailand, one thing I've said before is I am the largest, whitest, loudest, and most tattooed person that any average Thai would probably see in a given day or week or maybe month. This meant that all eyes were on me. Some kind, some just curious, and some just mean. But it didn't matter. They were still looking. And I had to come to terms with what I was. This affects different people in different ways, but for me, it really kind of grounded me. Because I knew that there was nothing I could do to change how they feel about me in a positive way, and I wasn't going to resort back to the negative ways. So you might be asking, why do I make YouTube videos? Wouldn't that inflate my ego? And the answer is maybe. It could satisfy my ego. But I'm choosing not to use it for that. I'm choosing it to get things off my mind. Sometimes I feel that something just needs to be said, and other times I just need a project to kind of get me out of my normal daily grind of work. And in that I try to keep my ego at bay through all the kind words and criticisms that I receive. The odd thing about all of it though is even when I was on stage when I was younger, the more I did it, the less my ego felt fed. The more comfortable I felt and the more therapeutic it felt, and the less about the ego it ended up being. So why then am I making this video? All the chapters of my life are what make me who I am right now. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't any less confusing or frustrating. It doesn't mean I was any less angry. It's really easy to think that you're the only one going through these sorts of things. One of the unfortunate side effects of something like this and caring so much about what other people think is that you don't tell people that you have a problem because you're afraid of what they think. The flip side is nobody else is telling you about theirs either. And so we think we're the only ones. So to answer the question, I am making this for you. I'm making this for past me. I'm making it for the hopes that more people will talk about these sort of things openly. It sucks thinking that somebody else's opinion is the steering wheel for your life. So be yourself. Anyone worth impressing is only going to be impressed by the real you. So take the wheel. Cheers. I don't know when I'm going to do the next one of these. Maybe soon.